All right.
Good afternoon.
All right. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that Kristen arrived because she had put her comment in the event, but I wanted to introduce you all to a good friend of mine, Jason. He took a ride into New York City a couple of like 3 years ago.
2019 was a few years ago.
19, so it was 5 years
Or
ago.
20, maybe it was 20, 2019 or 20, right, Scott, in New York?
So that was
time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a book launch party.
Yeah.
And Jason came in and introduced himself to everybody, and that was the beginning of our friendship. So in the last 5 years, we've all evolved and started doing all of these different things. Jason was really into community at that point, before we were even talking about the Outlier project. And that's where the XXO comes in, is he had created a platform to build community with people all over the world. And it was a great adventure. I was one of he had a panel of coaches that would be there, or opportunities for people to meet with coaches or have different experiences. That's the word that Jason uses, experiences. And then, and now that's where the XXO comes in, is he's doing XXO Creative, focusing on building websites that are really about branding and creating an experience, which he had to educate me on, because you all know I love to do it myself. So I've been creating my own websites for 10 years and I thought they were fantastic. I was very proud of them until I saw what a professional website looks like. And so Jason completely redid mine, from the color to the energy of it. It's a whole different experience. And so that is why he's here today. And Jason, I don't know if you want to talk about Frenzy at all, but if you want to introduce yourself and add more of the fun stuff that you work on, feel free.
Sure. Well, I'll start with first just thanking everybody for being here, and Scott and Kathy kind of bringing me into this world. You guys have created an unbelievable experience here. And I think, as you said, worldwide, it's talking about websites, the World Wide Web today. So that's kind of really fitting for this. Um, so I'm a lover of, obviously, website and brand and experience. And before we go into Frenzy, the brand that I'm an owner of now, or a co-owner of, is called the Tarot Bridge. And we're the fastest growing psychic and online tarot readings in $1 billion industry. So of all the things that we know that we do, that we work on, that don't work out, that's one that I never saw coming, that I found myself coming into, just from my past of building websites and networks and all these other things. A startup approached me, and they had this concept of what they wanted to build. It's $1 billion industry. I couldn't even pronounce tarot. I said, yeah, sure. Oh, I can build that for you. And we did, and now it's the fastest growing platform. So we're looking at probably ultimately will be an exit in about 2 years, and it's been quite a life changer. But the core of that is not just the website; it's brand. And what we're going to talk about today is not just website, but brands. And when I talk about brands, we're not going to talk about logos or colors or anything else, but brand is it's an emotional feeling. So if it doesn't make you feel, it doesn't make you do. And anytime we can go somewhere or hear something and have some type of a feeling, it like that's brand. It could be good or bad. There's brands where you cringe when you hear their name or something about it, or an experience. But that is brand. It'll take you to an exact moment, an exact feeling. And what I want to start off with this is, anyone can have an ordinary website but we all have the power to choose to create an extraordinary one. And so,
That's a great tagline,
yeah,
Jason.
yeah. And I
I don't know
can't use
where he
that
came up
everywhere
with
else.
that.
Yeah. So we're going to start there. We're going to talk today all about websites. I'm not going to get super technical, but if you guys have any questions, ask all the questions you want. And in real time, what we can do is you guys can drop your website in the comments. I can share the screen, and in real time, I'll go through and do an audit of your website with you. I'll show you what looks good, what works, what doesn't. This is an interesting group. This is like my jam here. Is everybody here is extraordinary. You're all probably thought leaders. You have trust and credibility in your spaces, and you're all probably pounding away at LinkedIn and other places, working so hard for attention to get yourself out there. And what we're going to talk about is you're doing such a good job, probably bringing everybody to your website, and that's might be where everything changes once they get to your website. So we're gonna have some fun today. Let me figure out where the chat is so I can monitor that.
And that is
Chat,
so true, Jason. It sounds so ridiculous, but I think about social media 100 times more than I think about our website. But that's so stupid now that I hear you say that, because I'm drawing all this attention that then is going to send them somewhere. And it could be a LinkedIn homepage, but it's, more than likely, especially with the Outlier project, it's probably a website. And I give almost no thought to that, which is really dumb. So we've
yeah,
established in the first 10 minutes, I am not that smart.
I started a series a few weeks ago, and what I've been doing is I'm going through just randomly picking all people I see come through on LinkedIn, all the big names that like look like they're crushing it, and they have all the trust and credibility, and I'll just go to the website. And what I'm finding is it's like 9 out of 10 websites are just problematic. Buttons aren't working, their calls to action aren't working. And so I started a series where I actually audit and I'll put it out there and literally redo their website in minutes just to see. But Scott, what you described, it's funny is that you'll invest all the time, energy, everything, everywhere else, but the place that you're pushing everybody to, where it's like a final place, is where we're having that like misstep. So
Yep.
it's not all about just creating. We're going to talk about creating an attractive, engaging website, but it's also what happens once you get there. And I'm going to keep using the line: if it doesn't make you feel, it doesn't make you do. And it's so true. You guys are all doing great things, and a lot of times when you go to the website, there's just no feeling. So there's two different ways we look at conversion on a website. Technical conversion, which means it's laid out what we call a UX or user experience. There's ways in which users will go to your website and it's a specific behavior of how they consume, how they take action. So if it's not designed specifically for a technical conversion, people are coming to the website and they're leaving. And a lot of everybody is actually making it so difficult for them actually to do something that they're leaving anyway. They're just not taking action. You made it hard for them to. The other side to that is it has to have an emotional conversion. So it can be like technically sound. It could be created by the best engineer in the world, developer. But if there's no emotion to it, they're also not going to take action. So that's an emotion comes from copy, color, layout, specific fonts, language. A lot of times I'll go to a website and they have the most inspiring message, but it's the way that the message is laid out. It's just written in the same font. It blends in. All the copy is just like, 15 paragraphs of copy. Nobody can read that. And it's all one color. So I can't even find the emotion. Um, and in the way that if you ever want to like think about a website is think of like a Z, a big Z. That's the way that people consume in small doses. They glance. So I don't know if you can see, I'm making like a Z. So their eyes will skip this way, and they'll glance. And so when we can create a website in small little pieces. Even if you're taking the same amount, it's like the LinkedIn concept where a lot of us, instead of taking a big paragraph, you'll see them separate by a couple sentences, a couple sentences. We can consume easier that way. So just by separating that, putting it causes the user to be able to consume more because they're not reading all of your words. And when you design a website, you're designing two websites, desktop and mobile, very different experience. And even if how horrible the desktop experience usually is, the mobile is usually worse because nobody gave thought to the mobile. And think of even like a small paragraph on a desktop, on a mobile, it's like this. I mean, nobody's scrolling that long. So a lot of these sites are they're just bland and they're not brand. So we're going to look at both. And again, we're going to go in a few minutes on all these websites I see popping up. So thank you for sharing those. Um, your website needs to be inviting. It has to be inspiring. And the one thing that we miss out on, it has to be an experience. It goes back to brand. How does it make you feel? When I land on the website, it has to be an experience. And I don't care what space, what field, what industry you're in, you can still create that experience. Or you can choose not to. And your competitors are just going to go to the next site that works, that functions, that gives them that feeling. And also it's a lot of these sites they're so confusing. You make it so hard because we're trying to add in, it's like if you're on a sales call, you want to give them everything, throw in everything that you do. But you have to realize if you put yourself in the shoes of somebody else as a consumer, it's so overwhelming. You can only consume so much. So there's ways in which we can take all of this data and copy and pictures and call to actions and just simplify it. You don't need 1,000 things going on when you get to the website. Think of Google. You go to Google, there's one thing. It's just your eyes go to that one space. I can type something in and I can get there. Like they really simplify the process. The website doesn't have to be that complicated. So we need to get rid of a sense of overwhelm. Um, and you still have to scream you're a professional, you're an expert in your field. And a lot of times when I go to the sites and we'll take a look after, when I get there, even with everything you have, I have no idea what you do. You made it so complicated because you put so much copy. I have to scroll 15, and I'm scrolling. Nobody else is going to scroll that far to see who you are, what you do, when you could have made it really easy from the top. So there's definitely a disconnect from brand of what you're all doing out in the real world of working hard to bring people to your website, and then once they land there. So we need to fix that disconnect. So the site can truly be aligned and your brand aligned with who you are, because all of you have this great, fun, inviting, inspiring personality, and we need the website to match that. So that conversion, technical, emotional conversion, when they get to that site, they're hitting that call to action. And the call to action is true. Some of you, you make the call to action so complicated. You're making them go through so many steps I call friction. Like you'll click a button and the button will try to like go to an email to send an email out. You're making me as a user do more work to create a subject line, create an email, as opposed to just going to a form and I fill out 2 fields and it sends you the message. You did the work, not me. So it's all about making it a much easier user experience in the least amount of steps as possible in the most inviting way possible. That's an experience. Questions so far?
I'm fascinated by this whole subject because I think, we've spent so little time on our website.
It's creating a concise message. So your messaging has like your brand is your message. Your brand is how it makes you feel, and your message has to convey that. And a lot of times, the website is probably so messy because we haven't really given thought of clarity on who we are, who we're for, who we're speaking to, maybe who we're not for. And once you can keep like zooming in as far as you can, so it's so simple, that is what they need.
Jason, what's an example or two of a website that you're like, man, that they get it. They're doing a fantastic job.
It's a hard question. I mean, it's probably ego driven. I just want to go to some of the sites that I've done, but it's because of I've taken so long and it's come from so many other sites that things I didn't like. I mean, there's a lot of sites I like, of course, but one doesn't come right away thinking about
Okay.
it, Scott. Yeah.
Jason, what's Patrick's website? I'll put it in the chat.
PatrickWSmith.com. I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you an example of a before and after so I can just show you what happens with a site and we can all look at a site together and then we'll go into some of your sites. Is that okay, Kathy, if I can share my screen? All right.
Yeah, you should be set to share. Were you waiting for me to play music or something?
I thought you were going to sing, but that's fine.
Come on, Kath. Sing that song that was making you sad yesterday.
Oh, gosh.
All right. So what I'm going to do is this is actually what I did on LinkedIn the other day is, um, and you may or may not know Erin Moody. She's unbelievable. She's built such a following, like credibility in the HR space. She's amazing at what she does. And so I went to her website and can everybody see my website?
Yep.
Okay.
Is this her
So
website? Is this the before?
this is her website. Yep. So and I came to this and it was such a different experience than the Erin Moody who I've been following online. And she has all the credibility and trust and she's like the authority in HR. But when I got to the site, I'm like, what happened? It's not the same person. And a lot of these are DIY, do it yourself websites. We don't make the investment, or you have somebody who can create a website, but they don't know anything about creating a business or brand, and so it serves as the same thing as a DIY. So I get to her website, and I don't know if you can see. Can you see me moving the mouse? Okay.
Yep.
There's all of the space. There's no message. There's no call to action. So all I see, and I when I'm picking on Erin, this represents so many other websites. So I don't want it to feel like I'm coming down to Erin, and we'll take a look at what I did for her. Uh, but the only thing I can do is H&R Branding Consulting. There's only one button. I have no idea, but it says learn more. So I'm going to click it. And her only call to action doesn't work. It's trying to open up an email system for me to go email her. So I don't know how much traffic she's bringing to her website. It's probably a lot. And everybody that wants to work with her, they can't even get a hold of her. This is pretty typical of many of your websites. If I audit them, they're not gonna they don't function correctly. And that's it. Like it's just there's nothing there. So what I did is I kind of went in blind with Erin, and this is what I created for her brand. I'm gonna get past this bar right here.
And you did this with no feedback from her.
I gave her a heads up. I said, Erin, is it okay if I do this? I don't want to know anything about you. I don't want you to provide me anything. This is just my take on who I think you are from the outside, your brand. I'm going to look at all your website and go from there. I don't want anything from you, but is it okay if I do this? And she said, yeah. Um, I can't get to the website because this thing's blocking. Kathy, how do I get past that bar up top? I got it. All right. All right. Can everybody see this?
A little different.
Yep. Yep.
So I mean, this is Erin. I mean, she has such a big, bold, inviting, fun personality. I mean, I found this picture of her. She's on her laptop, the phone's in her hand. She's ready to rock. Look how simple her message is. Your fractional HR and social media consultant expert support on demand without the overhead of a full-time hire. Like it's right to the point, it's fun. The words HR, social media, and on demand pop out at me and work with me. But right away, I know how to get a hold of her. And I also created a call to action up top because people consume different ways. They can work with her up top. I simplified all the things that she had all over her website and only cared about three places: about her, her HR services, and our new program called Amplify Your Brand. So we call this the hero, the first part. This is the prime real estate. When somebody gets to your website, you have like 3 seconds, just like when you're probably consuming on TikTok. If it doesn't catch you, you're gone. So see how clean, simple this is. As soon as I scroll past this, I break it down into the 4 segments that she covers the most. And so I could have bunched that up all together, but by the slight little changing of the color, I also can consume that really quickly in seeing what she does. Next part, I took the whole amplify thing, that the word amplify, making it kind of like, a theme throughout this. It's just so clean. But if you also look at how I break a different font, color, style of the 3 different sections, you can also, so if you're looking at a big block of words, you can change the font, the color, the style of them. So they actually stick out of the three as opposed to looking at a big block of text. It's not overwhelming. It's inviting. Again, do you see how I'm pointing, as you can probably can't see me pointing, but there's a different call to action on every single segment, because if somebody's consuming and they didn't catch the first one, they kept going to the second one. If there's not a call to action under each section, they're going to have to keep scrolling back or up or down to find it. Again, that's friction. They're not going to bother. They're just going to back out. So we make it easy for them wherever they are. And if you notice, starting from the top, the Z motion is the words are on one side, they're in the middle, they're on the other side. I switch it again to the other side, how we create a Z. Again, simple, it's inviting. I created this website in less than 5 hours. It was easy. Once I understand the brand, it's easy to go. Again, it's inviting, but it's easy to get a hold of it. Social proof for everybody is huge. There's different ways you can do social proof. Um, this was a big one because I found social proof not on her website, but in her LinkedIn, from the vice president, global HR of, is it Dutch Bank? I mean, that sounds like pretty significant um, social proof or testimonial. Usually, too, a lot of people will put a ton of testimonials, but there's no pictures. So the best way you can do that is either this way with a picture. I didn't have one of her, or a lot of texting. Kathy, I'm just going to show your website after too of how we took the text as social proof, which is huge. This is also social proof. Her stats, as she's trying to be a thought leader in HR and social media services kind of combined, and this easily combines the two. She has 56,000 LinkedIn followers and 14 years of HR experience. So we made that very easy for somebody to see. And again, we're kind of, you can see the layout, podcast, and that's it for links. So you can see the difference of from one website to the other, how one, if you landed on that website, you would probably leave right away. And the second one, you're probably going to lean in and want to contact her because it matched the company, person, or brand that you were reaching out to on the outside. And you'd be surprised that as much credibility as you have on the outside, as soon as they get there, you can lose it like that. Questions? Any questions?
Such a difference.
Jason.
Isabel. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go for it.
Oh, sorry. I have a question. Thank you. That's amazing. Huge difference. Do you have a rule of thumb as to how much scrolling should be on that first page? Because that seems like for hers, it seems like quite a bit for someone to scroll all the way down. Does that matter? or is it?
So,
Is it
so
okay?
it's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question. It doesn't matter if it's set up so you can go down or you can go sideways, meaning up top. I already caught them if they went right away to the section they need to go to, but a lot of times they don't, so they'll go down. So I'm gonna catch them. I don't care which way they go. In the end, I've caught them. So you can scroll for a long time. Just be really intentional with what you're putting on the scroll, right? So I'm putting in sections of different things that she's working on. It's not going to go forever, right? But yeah, you have to catch them left to right and up and down,
Okay, thanks.
and don't put stuff just at filler, right? We want to put everything we have, but at some point, it doesn't make sense to keep putting more stuff.
And and it seems like you like having most of the messaging on that first page as opposed to having a button that says, you know, here's the products and here's, you know, for this audience, click here. For this audience, click here.
So it was there up top. She had her two audiences, which is one is for more of like HR and one is more of the social media. So I made it easy up there. But if I didn't get them up there, then I'll follow them
Okay,
down.
so
Yeah,
parallel, and it's
yeah,
same sort of message on both. Okay.
correct. Yeah. I'm trying to get them. It's we all respond or resonate differently to different things. And it's so trying slightly different ways and messaging in that. But at some point too, it's not all about information, it's about transformation, right? And so if there's no transformation or transaction, then it's kind of like a pointless exercise. So you got to be really intentional what we're putting on the site as well.
Thanks.
Yeah. Isabel had a question. When did you start getting interested in creating feelings with your work?
Yeah.
That's a great question. Who feelings with it really was with XXO. I started with XXO in its kind of infancy phase of 2019 was creating an offline matchmaking service and a podcast. And both are really wrapped around connection, which is creating feelings with one-on-one, because they were both in one-on-one, whether a matchmaker putting, two people together one-to-one, or a podcast, which was me with my guest one-on-one, a conversation. And I become fascinated with connection. And that's really what all these things are, is connection. Because if there's no connection, again, connection is a feeling. And if it doesn't resonate, you're not going to do something with it. So I would say that's when it started earlier, but that's when I really kind of leaned into it and got really excited about it, about the feeling of these types of things.
Can I ask when you first experienced that for yourself?
How so? What do you mean by that?
When you first saw a website or something online, some kind of social media, whatever it was,
Yeah, yeah.
where you
Okay.
went, where you thought, wow, that's made me feel something and nothing.
Yeah, I would say actually Mind Valley. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Mind Valley or Vishen Lakhiani. Yeah. Because kind of where I was going with it at that time in that space, that kind of led me to something that was like a similar type of experience. And I thought he was creating this amazing experience. And then I really started to dive into just having like a real curiosity and obsession over website design. A lot of things like on XXO, I had to do everything myself. And so I started from not knowing how to do anything with a DIY. And over time, I just got to get better and better and better. And I think I enjoyed maybe building the site even as much or even more than the actual platform itself. And like that really excited me of the visuals and everything to be able to convey what is happening inside or behind the scenes of the experience of what it's like. And you have to convey that on the outside on the website, right? And so there has to be a feeling behind as opposed to, and there's one thing I'll say now is that I cannot stand stock pictures. And sometimes you're like, a lot of these, people can send stock pictures. I had to use it recently on a platform that I just built for somebody, but they were from day one, and it's going to be changed as soon as their platform opens with real members. So I cringed at that. I was very fighting it and selected, but we don't do stock pictures. It just looks fake, right? I'd rather have a shittier picture, like a less quality, but something real and raw, and that's what converts today. So
And video, it looks like there's an awesome video of Kathy speaking on the XXO website.
oh yeah, video. You want to highlight what the experience is, whatever it is. It's for photographers, and I met a few photographers for they want the website, and they all want the same thing, and they become a commodity. And you become a commodity too if your website looks like everybody else. So in like a photographer world, they want to show all of the pictures when you first get to the website, which makes sense. If I'm a photographer, I want to highlight my work. But they're not if they take pictures and they're just a photographer, they're a commodity. If they're the ones that get it, they create an experience, because photography is a really intimate moment. It's like intimacy, right? It's people feel very vulnerable on the other side having the pictures taken, whether it's boudoir, whether it might just be like in a company for like your headshots. Even that, they feel vulnerable. And you can take even the highest executives that are the most confident in their spaces, but they feel vulnerable when having to do the headshots. And so I said, you need to highlight that, because they're giving you you have some video of them talking about the experience after. That is what you want to document. Anybody can take pictures, but you've created this experience that's like no other. And when somebody comes to your site and understands the experience, the feeling, the emotion, that is what you're selling. You're selling an experience and emotion, not taking pictures. Take pictures, just put a price, and you're a commodity. So that's the difference. I love this stuff.
Thank
You
you.
guys can tell.
Thank you
I
so
get hyped up.
much. Thank you, Jason. Can I
Yeah,
say one thing about the site that you showed us as well?
yeah,
What I
yeah.
loved is that her laptop looks like a present. I thought it was a gift.
Yeah.
I did
And
Yeah.
too.
and then when you said, and she's on her laptop, I looked again, but what's great is that it looks like she's holding a gift, which totally matches her style.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing what you can take from just a picture. And you can take a picture and put it in one place, and it gives you one emotion, or maybe not. And then you place it somewhere else around something else, and it feels like a whole different experience. It's the same picture, right? Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna go through some of the comments. If anybody has something to say, jump in. I'm gonna kind of go through the comments so we can take a look at some websites. Uh, is it Tag, or is Tag, is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, tag, yep.
Okay, okay. So I have some domains, and you have yet to start building. Okay.
Do
So
you have
what I
any,
would
yeah, I
say,
was gonna, do you have any like, it being in that sense, obviously it's something I've been thinking about, just haven't pulled the trigger in my mind, kind of like in Kathy's world, like, okay, I gotta figure this out, do it myself kind of thing, but what kind of recommendations would you have? Being able to have a green palette ready to just go, and what do I need to think about in terms of attacking it, messaging, branding,
yeah.
finances as well too?
So I think it's first clarity, because you could spend all your time trying to build a website, but you have no clarity of what your brand is, like a very defined target audience, what your brand is, what your offer possibly is. And when you're first starting, you might not even know that. And it's okay that it'll change over time. But you want to create that before you just dive in to create a website, because the website is not hard to create. It's taking what you've defined as you, your brand, your offer, and then translating that into a website. The one thing I'll put right now is that everybody gets so caught up, and I know some of you are probably gonna get angry at me, is your logo. Like your logo is like, you think it's the end all be all, and we get so attached to the logo as if it's everything. And then I go to a website, and as soon as I get to the website, all I see the logo. It's like the whole first part is a logo. I'm already got, like, nobody cares. The funny thing is nobody cares about the logo, but the logo can be a great addition to your brand. It's not the brand, but it can't take up all the space, because that's not the message. So get attached to your brand, not so attached to the logo. And let's move the logo a little smaller out of the way so people actually can see what you do and who you are. But yeah, that's what it is. It's like just getting really clear on what it is you want first. before you dive in to try to do that. Because if you've never done a website, you're trying to create a website plus figure out who I am, what my brand is. It's very confusing for you. And it'll be very confusing for your clients, customers, users as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is it Carissa?
It is.
Okay. Do you mind if I'll for the first time I share and we'll go to the website?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. Hold on a second here.
Brave soul, Carissa.
Yeah, I love
Why
it.
we
I
love you.
know.
This is fun. NoLonelyLeader.com, correct?
That's it. Mm-hmm.
So before I even hit the button and we go in, it's already given me a great, so by the name alone gives me, it's an experience. So I'm so curious what's going to happen once I get there, but the name, the URL is brilliant. It already made me feel something and it's memorable. So cheers to that.
Thanks.
Leadership can be lonely, but it doesn't have to be. Okay, I love that. So everybody, so I'm coming in as blind as maybe everybody else, unless you've been here. So this is the first time me seeing it. It's a really clear message. What's happening is there's so much blank space here. So we could tighten up a little bit, but the messaging, the brand, I love this already. Okay. Tired of figuring out on your own. Okay, so what's happening right now is I've come to the website. I love it. You're pointing down to the next space. And again, there's no call to action. So Carissa, you're losing by them just not having, you have to think of everybody has such a small attention span. And so literally by just putting, instead of this arrow, or if you had this arrow, your call to action has to be the second section right here.
Okay.
And if it's not, and the call to action would, when you click it, it would go right to your contact form for them to reach out. We're trying to capture them as fast as we can. And if not, they might keep scrolling, but you didn't give them a chance to. And so even if I keep going down, I got to scroll back up to find it. So you made it difficult for them.
Jason, what are your feelings on filling out forms versus chatbots?
It depends what kind of, I think, company or business maybe you have. Like a chat box can be really good if it's of really like a retail type site. Other than that, unless a lot of the chat boxes are very AI generated, like if it's a lead generator, you can have it designed a specific way, and there's different ways that we can create a chat box to do that. But if it becomes too complicated or in the way, then it defeats the purpose because it becomes annoying. A lot of chat boxes will keep popping up and getting in the way of actually me seeing the website, so it defeats the purpose.
Gotcha.
Carissa, also, so Carissa, is this your company? Is just you?
It's me.
Okay. So you are the brand. So by you not being already scrolling down this far, and you're here now, but I want to know, I want to see you in some way, shape, or form much higher, which is probably going to be in the second section. And that way, and then you could flip them. I want to know who you are. I want to see you because I want to resonate with a human. You need to humanize the website, not just make it so technical. Love this. So here's another way is that you have a lot of text here. Not a bad thing, but if you broke up that text in about half and then created another section where you flipped it, put the text on the other side, a different picture on the other side, and make your call to action. Go bold. Make this call to action much bigger. You can stretch it out because you want them to click it. You're minimizing yourself by minimizing the call to action, right? There's probably all this great information about you and trying to lead them to this thing, and then like I got to use a magnifying glass. Make it big. Make it simple for them. From chaos, clarity. Okay. Same thing, just make it bigger. So let me see my calls to action. I love you have the book a call up top. Okay, nice. Yeah, I would say it's not bad. It's a good site compared to the majority that I see. I think you can tighten up a little better, but I think you're off to a great start. I think you understand what your brand is and what it's all about, just the way that you kind of spoke to me with this. So cheers to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for doing this. Like I absolutely love that you go through things in real time. So real time feedback, like just chew it all up, spit it out. Like that's the best kind. So thank you for doing that.
You're
And
welcome. Have you worked with any company like have you been featured anywhere?
I have not. No.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay.
No, I'm
So
selling a baby company, like in the brand new rolling out stages. And so this is all kind of DIY as you were talking about till it really gets
yeah,
going. And so
it's
You can do a power hour, Carissa, and you could say you were
yeah,
featured in the Outlier project.
that's
there
right.
you go. There you
That's
go.
right.
Just saying.
So
Okay.
Chris, if you can get reach out to Jordan and Kristen
Kristen.
and Ann
Yeah.
and ask them, are you okay with, may I use a picture of yours on my website as part um
Okay.
of the testimonial? Because that just makes this so much more real than just this, right?
Sure.
Okay,
So
nice.
one of the things I see a lot, Jason, is like that example where you see it's like Anna G or whatever. And I always think like, not with Carissa because we know she's honest Abe, but you're like, is that real? I like to see like it's Anna Girardi, the vice president of sales at Sikorsky Aircraft. Um, I just think like generic stuff like that doesn't pack a big punch.
It doesn't. Here's the three ways. Here's probably in from top to bottom, or best to worst of the ways that you can collect testimonials. The best way is if they do a video because it's them on video, and then you can take the video of them, and you can also you get free things out of it because you get the video. You can translate into copy also like what you did for other places, right? So then you have written words, you have the video. That's your best option. Not everybody will do a video. That's okay. Um, if they won't do a video, the second best, I'm gonna show Kathy in a second, just as an example, is a lot of times when you text your customers, your clients, they'll respond back of their experience. And then I can screenshot that. And if they allow it, obviously I'm not going to show the phone number, but a text screenshot holds a lot of credibility, so much more than what you have there. But if what you have there, at least I want to see a picture of somebody, so it gives it a little more of a credibility as opposed to, as what Scott said, a lot of people can just make those up. You didn't make them up, but I'm saying it's a perception, right? So that's all.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I was going to show one thing from Kathy.
Kristen has her hand up too, Jason. I don't know if you can see that.
I can't, but Kristen, go for it.
So I have a couple reviews and testimonials on my website. One of them, and I ask everyone, do you want your full name, your title? Do you want anonymous? Do you want initials? Because I work in the realm of suicide prevention, I have one that is, I think, so powerful, talking about how he walked out of my presentation and handed his suicide note to the chaplain in the back of the room. But because he's military, he didn't want his name, so he asked for initials.
Okay.
So I feel like it's powerful, and that kind of explains the emotion that having me present brings about, that a lot of senior leaders in the military want to see. But then in regards, so it would be lower on the list of best practices for recommendation. So I would love your recommendation.
Are you still in touch with him?
Yes.
Okay. I understand that he might not want to be seen and fully respect that. What I would ask him is he might be willing to do, if you've ever seen those videos where somebody will talk, but it's kind of blacked out and you can't see their face, or even put like a voice thing. I bet he'd be open to doing that for you if he's had such a powerful experience and knows that that experience can help that many more people. As much as he might not want to be in front of it, he might just say yes, you don't know. But if he says no to being in front of the camera, but it's okay if I disguise or blur out,
Okay.
do something like that, and you can get that on video. I don't care how it's done. I'd be putting that right at the top of my website. I mean, that's huge, right?
Okay.
That's like, you get chills thinking about that. So you can get creative with it and think out of the box to make it more humanized. And I bet he'd help you, because he's going to help a lot of people with that.
Okay.
Can we
Thanks.
just go to your website for a second while I have you? Because I actually, you put your website out yesterday. So I had a moment to check it out yesterday. So I'm not going in fully blind.
But you
Can you
also
just-
wanted to show Kathy's, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I
see,
just
I
want to
see.
make sure
Kristen.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that you know time management.
Oh, we're extending this. We're going overtime here.
All right. So Kathy,
I love
Kathy in the
that.
house.
Look
myselfcareshit.com. Is that not the greatest URL ever, right? I mean, so Kathy was a completely different experience. And you can see like even the mouse is like Kathy's love, like Kathy love, and the heart, it moves and the heart's moved down. I'm not going to go through the whole website right now, but what I wanted to get to is this here. This is what I'm talking about with text. All of her clients text her these amazing, and this is kind of like a new, I don't want to say trendy, but it's a really good trendy kind of way to highlight client experiences and testimonials, is by actually copying their text. I mean, look how amazing this is. It's actually what went down between the conversation with the two of you, right? So depending on what your space you're in, this holds a lot of weight these days, and it looks so much cooler than just the regular like copy. So that's the other way.
This
That's
is
what
a
I like
small
when I
thing,
wake up.
Jason. Oh, go
What's
ahead.
that? What's that?
I just like that you featured that picture of me when I just woke up at the top. Thank
This
you.
is a small thing, Jason, but would you, when you go back to those texts, would you get rid of, just to make it cleaner, like I don't know, there's like I think I can't see it now, but there's
Like the power bar.
time and that stuff.
No, you want it messy. It could be
Oh, you
messy because
do.
it's real. It's a real, like, because if it looks, if you like edit it to the point of perfection, it loses what it's supposed to do, because you could have just made it up as a graphic designer. You want these things to be a little more raw and messy for that, and it actually holds more weight and resonates more than the perfection that they actually might mean away from.
That's a great point. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my OCD being like,
Totally
oh,
get
I
it.
would, I
Yeah.
would probably crop that out and do this.
Yeah.
But yeah,
There,
yeah,
there's
that's a great point.
there's a place where you need to be precise, and there's a place where precise does not work, and that's one where it doesn't. But there's other places where you do want to be precise. So that's kind of, it's funny how this thing works, right?
Yeah.
Like we're in such, up until a few years ago, call it was like a perfection world in terms of even ads and content, everything else. And now, even on TikTok, people don't connect to the overproduced content or ads. They want the thing that's completely unproduced, stripped down, and that's what they lean into. And you can place any brand. You can take Mercedes, and even that, the high stuff that they do, the high end, the low end kind of like will produce just as well, if not better. So it's an interesting place, Scott.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at like Casey Neistat's been doing this forever. And if you follow Casey and like some of the stuff that he's done, I think one of the reasons why he blew up is because it was so raw and just incredible content, not like super glossy scripted.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as it's set up right and it looks good, you can kind of like play. Sometimes it's almost like a design trick to play with the messy a little bit, as long as it's done strategic. Is Scott freeze on me, or did I freeze with you guys?
I don't know. Did I freeze?
Let's see.
Am I frozen?
Not anymore now.
All right.
I have another question. Is that okay? And then I'll lower
Yeah.
my hand.
Okay. Go for it.
What do you feel about audio testimonials? I was thinking of that for Kirsten because that's an sorry, Kristen, not Kirsten. Sorry, Kristen. Not wanting to be seen. That's very typical in my experience, particularly obviously in your context. Audio is incredibly powerful too. Is that something you've used, Jason?
So I think, yeah. So I think the scenario what we talked about is essentially becomes an audio clip, because if he's on a video, but we essentially blank him out or discuss, blur him or black it out or put a picture of him over it, essentially that's what it is. It's an audio clip. So yeah, the voice, like the voice leads a connection, right? It's like the connection between one person and another. So very powerful to hear him, you know, if I could read his whatever he writes as his testimonial, I could read it as if it was mine and reading it. And you could take a professional like speaker and read it, but nobody will ever hit the emotion of what it sounds like coming from him, because he went through that and none of us did, right? So the inflection in his voice and everything, like, yeah, it's very powerful. So voice, yeah. And whether it's a video or you can't see him, it's the voice.
And thank you, because you've inspired me to contact a client of mine who is very, very up against it because she's incredibly successful at what she does. And I think if I ask her for a video recording, so to flip it and to think about time effectiveness from the other side, very often testimonials, people immediately think I haven't got time, or when will I do that? And actually, if you just say, I just want you to record your voice, please, for 2 minutes describing, or 1 minute describing how my sessions made you feel, that's incredibly effective. So thank you, Jason.
Yeah, thank you. That's powerful. I mean, there's definitely strategy, and that's a whole nother thing of how to get testimonials with your clients. But it's fairly simple once you have a process to do so. And there's different ways to kind of, it's called prompt engineering, and you can kind of prompt somebody to give you without asking for it. And I mean, they're gonna be more than happy to help you out. But if they have a great experience, they'll be more than happy to. So let's see. I'm just kind of grabbing these. So is it Ivor? IVOR?
Yep.
Is that how you pronounce it? Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. You're gonna be in the quote hot seat for a second.
Oh, wait, you were going to Kristen's.
Okay. All right. Hold on.
Kristen, is it, which one is it? Is it is it Project Healing Heroes? Is that the one?
No, so that's the interesting part. It's KristenChristyCares.com. I can put it in the chat.
Yeah, do that. Kristen's gonna love this in a second, because I think I'm a surprise or something.
So this is a situation I'm in. So Project Healing Heroes is a nonprofit that I've been associated with, and they offered to do a booking page for me. And so anytime I get inquiries through that booking page, they get a percentage. I always give to a nonprofit, mine and another nonprofit, for each speaking gig. And for their SEO is amazing, I guess, because when you Google my name, I have 6 pages of all the things I've done, but theirs is at the top, and I need to figure out how to get mine at the top instead. So I did I not put it in? Shoot.
You might be in the chat. Just what is it? Kristen Cares or?
It's Kristen Christy Cares. It's KristenChristy cares.com. So Kristen Cares was taken. KristenChristy.com was taken. So I know it's a long name, but.
Okay, so this one I was on yesterday just because you dropped it in. So is it on a web
it's on
WordPress?
ClickFunnels.
Gotcha. Because I was trying to figure out what this URL, like it pops up
Yeah,
with this like
I don't
weird
know how to
thing.
get rid of that. And I am proud of my logo.
Okay. All right. So this it's an amazing. So I as I said, I had a time yesterday to digest this site, and it's an amazing platform that you're building. It's for such a good cause. Um, and I really want to make it translate properly, and also for somebody landing on your site to figure out really who you are and what you're doing, because it's a lot of your credentials, but it's very difficult to figure out what you're offering and how to get a hold of you. And so the whole prime piece of real estate up top is your logo, and it's this unbelievable picture. I mean, it's a powerful picture. And then I'm already down here, all these credentials. And my guess is, just from what I've understanding of the site, is you're a professional speaker, and this whole platform of this website is for them to reach out to you so you can speak at their be a speaker for whatever their event is, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, so
Yes.
I understand that. Um, Somebody who comes here is not going to understand it. And so little tricks here is that, remember how on one of those I showed you with Aaron, where I took all of these, but I made them a different color. Like I took two colors, but I alternated them and I made them big, just so when I look at this, it's a big block. I can't see everything, but by you simplify, like making it easy on the eyes, we'll be able to see all the different things. Same with this. This is a lot of text, and we're not on a mobile phone. Mobile phone will be forever.
Right.
And this color is just so overwhelming. So you could take one color for your heading and then a different color or font to break down the message. And also, you shouldn't have all of this in one area.
Right.
It's just too much. And you are not the only one, but you, like a lot of others, when I go to contact Kristen, you're not going to a contact form. It's trying to send me to my email to email you. So watch, it's not even gonna work because it can't connect to
Right.
the email system. So, and then once I do, I have to create a subject line. You made it so hard. So people
Okay.
actually, you're making it hard for them. They want to contact you, but they don't. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go down a little further, and I have something I'm just gonna show you. I, the message is unbelievable. It's like a really powerful platform you're building. It's just not set up correctly for it's just not translating properly for conversions.
Okay.
This is amazing. You've been featured on all these places, which you have this all the way at the bottom, and this is the thing that you probably want all the way at the top.
Okay.
And it's also so overwhelming because it's just like this scattered block of things. So my eyes can't even handle all the amazing. You're illustrating all these things, but my eyes can't handle that. So you don't know I did this, but I'm gonna show you. I took probably 2 minutes and copied a couple. Like this is like a really fast thing. I'll show you what I did for you, just to show you how to clean up like a section. Um, Give me 1 second, so I make sure I show the right photo.
Thank you. Thanks for taking the time.
Jason,
Yeah,
are you
yeah.
still good on time?
I'm fine. Everybody else is, yeah. And if everybody, if you can't stay, just contact me, and I'd be more than happy to hop on a call and we can go through your website, one-on-one too. I love this stuff. So let me know. Okay, I got it. Get back in the client. Kristen, can you see my
Ooh.
screen? So again, I don't know your message, and I did like a minute. I just wanted to quickly show you, like, by just literally just moving a couple things, it simplifies. So
Amazing.
you're literally posing perfectly for the message. So a
Wow.
lot of tricks is if somebody, if you don't always want to be looking at the camera. So if I'm looking at this way, then put the words on the other side. So my eyes go where your eyes go. You're literally pointing to the message. So look how simple it is. Book Kristen to speak. Like right then and there, I know you're a speaker. I might not click it, but at least like I'm in a different mindset now. By breaking it down to one line, and it might scroll, it might not. I mean, it's a little obnoxious. I put too many in, but like I did this quick. But by highlighting your credibility right away, and then I just took the same thing you had, I broke it down, the same thing I showed before. I threw a couple of your pictures on either side, and then I would continue with another block of who you are and more of your message of what you do. But like this just takes minutes to take what you had and just lay it out a little differently, simplify it. And when I get there, it's like night and day with your website, right? I didn't do anything
Yep.
different. I just moved things around, but that's what we call a user experience, right? That gives it so much more credibility than what you have now. I know what you do. We can get more clear with your messaging, but like you can see that how simple
Wow.
this is, right?
Yep.
That's cool.
That's amazing. What a gift you have.
Thank you.
That
Incredible.
was what we call a grand finale.
Yeah.
Wow.
Drum roll.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ta-da.
You're welcome. And then, as you said, like when you get the social, and I started to dive into your message a little further of like the was it 988 or whatever the suits like you have,
Yeah.
like that in big bold is its own brand, and you could build a section on that, and you could have I don't want to call it play on words because I'm not making light of it, but like you could really highlight it and have his video and everything else. So there's so many things you can do. At the end of the day, you want heavy conversion because you have such a powerful message of lives you're transforming on the outside, but that can't happen if they don't transform that contact button to get a hold of you to want to actually do something with you, right? So you're kind of like the gatekeeper, and right now you're in the way of yourself. You're directing the message here. Now we need to get you on stage and just make it easier for you. So little tricks like that make all the difference in the world to give you the credibility to get up there. And then it's just a loop, right? Just rinse and repeat.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're a magician, my friend.
This is fun. I appreciate you guys all having me. And as I said, anybody who I didn't get to, I'm sorry. Just email me or DM me through the app, and we'll hop on a call and we'll go through your website. I'll do the
Yeah,
same thing with you.
Kathy and I are definitely tapping you on the shoulder.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, I will too, definitely, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this has been great. Any questions? I still have time, so I don't know what everybody else means, but
Well, I just freaked myself out because I sent myself a test email to my email box and nothing's come through. So now I'm freaking out. And I haven't done that for months. So
always be testing. Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus. Sorry, I didn't mean to say
No,
Jesus, but
nothing.
it's like
We were, your message is not uncommon. It's not uncommon. We work so hard. Like I see everybody on LinkedIn and they're working so hard, they're showing up and everywhere else. And it's all to get them to the site. And like it's like the thing that we haven't invested the time or anything to like get that perfected. So we're just losing business by the day. As you said, how many people clicked that button and couldn't get to you, right? So as soon as you get off here, make sure you change that link to get to you.
I've already emailed my website design.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Jason, I have a question.
Yeah.
I was looking at your website. I've needed a new website for ages and have kind of put it off. And mine is old and beat up. I am the recruiter, so have, clients and candidates, right? And sometimes a client can be a candidate can be a client, back and forth. But of course, it's the client that pays my bills. So I'm always very hesitant to put any kind of set up a call on my website, because the last thing I need, and I don't mean this to be rude, but the last thing I need is 100 unemployed people booking calls with me all day.
Mhm.
And it doesn't seem right to just say that I want to talk to people that want me to talk to me about doing business either.
Yep.
So I'm curious how you handle something like that.
It's a filter. So what we do is we create filters. So um, if you're, let's say you fix air conditioning and heating, whatever it is in your local area, the contact, I'm just to click on it, it goes right to calling you, right? Like there's no friction. We want to get that call right away. They don't want to create filters. You don't want the world getting to your website and you want them contacting you, but you don't want them contacting you, right? Like you don't want them to get right to you. So what we do is create a filter. You can create a form with a couple of fields that will filter out who is and who isn't a person. And it's a contact form. So they can't just schedule with you. You're going to then take a look at the contact form and say, hey, do I want to reach out to this person who's trying to engage with me? You need to create that safety filter there. Otherwise, you don't want the world just getting to you because you're gonna get the wrong people. Yeah. So they're called filters. It's a create a contact form. Like if your site right now is like book to schedule and they get right to your calendar, then you need to stop that because you don't want them getting to your calendar based on how you're set up. Create a contact form. You can create different fields that are required that they have to fill out. Let them do a little work, not whatever the filters are. And then when they fill it out, it'll go to you and you'll review it and say, do I want to reach out to this person? That's a filter. And you can create as many filters as you want to make it, it's a filter. It's simple as
Okay.
that. So yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna reach out to you. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you. It was a great question. Yeah. It's scary. It's a scary world in terms of a lot of, you can get some crazies. You can get some crazy calls and things and everything else. And you still will with a filter, but it's not them getting a hold of you. So you don't have to actually reach out back to them.
Right. Right now I sent calendar links on Calendly to people that that I'm going to have a conversation with.
Yeah.
But I've always been hesitant to do it on LinkedIn or do it on my website or anything like that. So that's an interesting way to look at it with the filters. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. And it's a case by case. Everybody has a different setup situation, what you're looking to do. And so there's not a right or wrong. It's just like a strategy for you and creating a process for you that makes it easy. And once you know what you want, it's easy just to set up your website to do so.
I have a quick question for all of you guys. Before you joined well, I guess you had to join. Did any of you spend substantial time on the outlierproject.co website?
No.
Scott Heathman told me to join and I said, yes, sir.
That's brilliant.
Scott, I've looked at it and I've tried to look at it with other people, and I found it's kind of easier to go to LinkedIn. Like it's easier to consume the information on what you have on LinkedIn versus the website. So I think an easier, view in terms of what we've been talking about for the website would be helpful.
That's good feedback.
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I've looked at it, but I don't think it reflects you.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I don't think we think it's what it should be.
It should be extraordinary.
And I think ours should convert. Like I feel very different. I don't know why I'm telling you guys all this. This is more like what I would tell Jason. So I have a recruiting business and I don't think anyone ever goes to our website. I think you have to have one because you have to have one, but I don't think it hasn't made one difference in our success or whatever. I think the Outlier project is completely different. And I think it's very important. The crazy thing is, and this shows you the insanity of an entrepreneur, I've actually paid money to have Something News site professionally done, and we did it ourselves for the Outlier project, which makes no sense, but it is what it is.
It's an experience, and everybody that's in this room and everybody else that's part of the Outlier project knows there's a certain level of experience that you have in this membership. And so you want to create that on the outside as well. whether it may or may not, like, increase conversion, because you built such a big brand on the outside anyway, but it's just having that experience, because your website is your brand. And so it has to match what actually is happening. And so the two have to be aligned. That's all.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was going to say too, I think the one thing that Jason brought for me too is this concept of emotion, feeling, that example that you showed with Aaron's website, and just get you kind of even blank just saying, I think I know you, let me play with this and see what I do. I think, Scott, to your point too, especially with like my experience with the Outlier project started out with Talent Champions Council, right? So you've had this evolution of stuff, and you've brought in all these amazing people, and the experiences of just keep shaping and morphing and stacking and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's the other part too, right? I think, Jason, with creating websites, like in my mind for now, like right, I'm at the beginning. I want to take your input and figure that out, and I'm going to reach out to you too. But at the same time too, just in terms of starting out, like I think I have some clarity in terms of what it is, but I also in my mind think it's going to should be fairly basic, but can actually now encapsulate this emotion and brand and who you are stuff. And I think when I think of the Outlier project, Scott, and what you've done, I mean, the body of work that you have to create and encapsulate everything that you are and who you are and what it projects is a cool evolution of the Outlier project,
Right. The problem I think we have, not to, turn this into like a case study thing, but we only convert when people talk to me. We're at the size and the presence and the brand that you would think people would just go to the website and join. That almost never happens, which is crazy, because a normal community, you would just go on the site, you would join. Like, you don't talk to the founder. Like, that's weird. That's unusual, but that is how it works for us.
So
we're getting no conversion.
And I joined the community because it's not normal.
right. But I'm even thinking too, like, Jason, when you talk about testimonials and use of video and stuff like that. And so, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a while since I've been back on it. But if you can go back and think of all the different conversations you've had with different people that have converted, is there a 2-minute clip, 3-minute clip that you can create or recreate that can at least maybe
we have
some of those
so much
questions,
stuff.
right?
We have people that it saved my life. It, changed my life. We have testimonials from everyone from Brandy Chastain to you name it.
Right, but I'm just curious in terms of the conversion is you, right? So I'm kind of case study, yes, and even asking Jason in terms of, is there value to, like, because you can't replicate yourself, but is there a way to convert by just having a Scott video in terms of
Jason is I'm gonna be on a couch like I'm at a psychiatrist's office with Jason in about a couple hours, and he's gonna solve all of our problems.
It's an interesting setup in that so a lot of brands, so there's two different types of brands, right? There's ones that are no face or no name, and then there's brands that have a person. That's a personal brand, is the brand. And if Scott and I know Kathy too, but like the face, you become like the face of, so they're kind of like coming through you. So that it's like a word of mouth. People talk to people, you need to join this membership. So you're getting here through there, but you don't know how many are coming to the site, hearing all these great things, and then like they get to the site and like, well, this they hesitate for a second just because it doesn't match, and they leave. So that you don't know, right? And so you don't want to lose just those few people. You don't know how many that few people are that just, even if you hear all the great things, as soon as they get to your site, if it doesn't look or feel the same, they might leave.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree.
it's not that it might bring more, but it stops from bringing less. It's a weird equation, which I guess does bring more. But
can I ask just one more question? Can I ask one more question? Is that okay? Sorry, Scott, I interrupted you.
No, go.
Are you sure?
100%.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Jason, how about the upkeep? Because we've talked about the design, we've talked about the build and all of that. I mean, yeah, I'm as wowed as everyone. It's wonderful to see and makes complete sense in terms of the storytelling piece as well. Then that story evolves, and the word evolution's come up quite a bit. And my struggle, having had it up for 3 years, and clearly the email doesn't work, but we're going to deal with that. That the upkeep, the adding to, that's why I love LinkedIn so much, because it's live and it's so easy to create story there. So I've had a real struggle as a solo person, then evolving the website because it changes, right?
It does. I mean, the website is always evolving, but you really usually there's the initial when you start a brand or a company, it's going to look one thing. It's like your 1.0 version as a startup. And then a lot of times as you are ready to go to like the 2.0 and you're really rebranding, it becomes that 2.0 version, right? After that, and in between, it's really a maintenance. Like you'll always do a little maintenance, but you're really not going to be doing, if you're overhauling your website every 3 months or every 2 years of a full overhaul, you might not, it might just be you that just is not aligned with your own message or know what your brand is. And so if you don't, and you're changing it that often, think of who you're trying to market to. They're more confused than you are, right? So it's easy to maintain it, but you're not going to like overhaul every few months or few years, right? You can just kind of add and make some updates to it.
Yeah, I meant like the micro ads. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not hard to do updates and anything.
Thank you so much. I have to go and get my daughter. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice video.
See ya. Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much, Scott. Kathy, thank you.
Thank you, Jason. This has been tremendous.
I'm glad you
And
guys enjoyed it. Thank you.
I feel very bad about myself now. So thank you for that. Very bad. This has not been good for my self-esteem, but we'll work on that.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
I have a quick question for you. Is there such a thing as like, so our call to action, and I actually make fun of other communities, like most communities, you can go on their website and it's like, it's like where's Waldo to try to figure out what the price is. And it drives me insane. And I've been on lots of, we'll call them competitor websites. I cannot find the price. Ours, like you find it in 2 seconds, but I don't know if it's almost too quick because you don't know what you're getting. And then you go, oh, it's $2,000 a year. Forget it. So I don't know. It's something for us to talk about, but I'm proud of the fact that we're like not trying to hide or obfuscate like how much it is, but we show it so often and so upfront that I wonder if people just go join $2,000. Okay, I don't really know what this is. That's a lot of money. No, I don't know.
Yeah, there's I'll say there's a little foreplay involved, right? Like you have to. I'm 100% transparency. I love pricing. But you also want to create it through a little experience. You're going to try to, right away, your first call to action is join. They might go to, or they might skip it. You have to have it there, but you're going to offer, you're going to kind of walk them through some of the experiences you're going to try to get them again. So, yeah, I'm all about the transparency. It's just probably the layout is probably just has to be a little revamped or something.
All right. I gotta run because I've got a 1:30, but this has been unbelievable.
You broke the record for time.
What took so long for us to do this?
This was great.
Thanks, Jason.
And I forget who posted it, but too, off of yesterday's event with April, it really tied in.
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty cool.
Ivor, what were you saying?
I was just going to say, I don't know if it's my interface because I have cookies on the site or something, but when I go to join us on the Outlier Project website, it takes me to the Mighty Networks page.
Yeah, because you're already signed in as a member.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's a different experience because I don't see the price or anything like that. Okay. That's pretty cool.
I wonder if Well, again.
All right, goodbye.
Let
different-
Jason figure that out.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Jason.
Thanks, guys.
I don't
Thank you,
know,
everyone.
Jason.
Reach out to me. I'll
Thank
talk to you.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Take care.
Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.